All right, guys, it's been a while that I posted. I'm trying to be more active back on YouTube, but I wanted to show you guys one of my big golden pothos. She's balding up here at the top. She hasn't been getting a lot of light, and I think what's been happening is her soil is probably running out of nutrients because we're getting a lot of yellowing from her older leaves, and I think also it's just too much plant for the pot because again lack of nutrients. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give her a pruning, and I'm also gonna go ahead and repot her. Just give her fresh soil with nutrients in it, and that should help offset her. So this is a golden pothos. It's beautiful. It's probably my biggest vining plant that I have here at my house, but she has a ton of vines, really long, full of vines here that I have to go ahead and trim back. You can tell that all of the leaves are in this direction because this is where the sun comes from. I don't have the ability to turn this plant around because this faces against a wall, so there's no place for it to get light. I mean, the back of the plant is against the wall, or my hand, where my hand was supposed to be up here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hang out. I'm gonna just clean her up a bit. We can hang out. You guys can just sit back and enjoy this, kind of just chill with me while I decide which vines to keep and which ones to get rid of. Definitely a lot to choose from. The way I'm going to decide is just take a look at the vines. The ones that look like in really great shape, I'm going to keep. Anything that's big and yellowing, I'm just going to see if I can remove that whole vine because the entire vine is struggling. And I would tell me that it's the vines that are getting the least amount of light. So one of the things with pothos is they can get really big and gorgeous, but they will struggle. You see, like this vine is having issues right here. So we're just gonna go ahead and trim this whole vine down. Just take it away, set it aside. I'm not going to propagate this plant. I have plenty of pothos cuttings, and I'm not gonna try and have more plants that I can manage outdoors. Small vines like these, you see how they're kind of yellowing? They're not as light. Bring you guys in closer. These vines aren't as green as they should be. They're getting too much light. The vine is struggling. I'm just going to cut it back. Take this whole vine out. Okay. Some of the vines have deeper green leaves. These look better shape. We just have to kind of make an executive decision at what you want to do. The goal right now is, again, trimming it back, see what I can save and also untangle because obviously we have some really, you see these here, they're like crooked and they're growing in random directions. I'm going to take this whole section off here. Just have to make sure that I unwind it properly. This was a dormant node with a new node, so we have to split it here to separate the vine. How they grow are convoluted. See? This entire one here that's browned and yellowed, we want to get rid of it. Anything that's got a lot of bald spots tells me that it's a vine that wasn't getting a lot of natural light. I'm just pruning it back. The plant will recover. Pothos are notorious for recovering pretty quickly during growing season, so I'm just going to trim these back. You see this vine here, it's pretty bald right here. We're just going to prune this whole thing back right here. Take it away. It's been a very long vine. You can see it's one of the very long ones, but the top is very bald. I also want to shorten the length of the plant, so I don't want to overdo it with vines that are too long and balding. Let's see here. This one is pretty long and straggly. You see how this vine's kind of crooked? We're just going to take this whole one down too. It is an older vine too, but I also want to make sure that I give the plant the opportunity to grow again in a nice healthy way. And you can see also the variegations kind of pulled away. That tells me it's definitely a nutrient deficiency with the whole plant. So we want to make sure that we are mindful. And all my plant lovers out there, this is probably hard for you to see me just go in and just go ham on these vines, but we need to prune this out. Another long one. Maybe bring the size of the plant down in half. Here's another one that's very bald. I'm trimming it back down to the base. Let me show you what I've taken off here. A good chunk. Saying goodbye to all this growth, that's fine. It may be painful to see, but the plant needs to get the haircut. That's because I've neglected her for some time. So let's see what we're working with. And she also won't be so side heavy, so she won't topple over during windy events. That's another issue I was having. So I'm gonna do is pull up the plant. This should easily all come off because again it's cocoa pumice bark, but I am expecting there to be a good amount of roots. Gonna be fun, challenging. Here we go. You can see that she's definitely root bound. This is also the issue as to why she's been having a hard time growing. She's got way more roots than she needs. I may actually need to use a bigger pot, which is fine. I have a very large pot right here that actually will be beneficial for her to give her the opportunity to get much bigger. It is a substantial jump, but this is an outdoor plant, so I'm not worried that I'm going to be giving it too much water. See that? With that root porn, guys. She definitely needed it. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to fully loosen the roots, just a few, so that they can have the opportunity to know that they can grab onto other things. And then by adding the nutrients in the new soil or just around her, she'll have the opportunity to branch out, and that's okay. So noodle roots are great. Happy plant. They're in great shape. I probably water this plant weekly when it's at its hottest time because this is a very moisture retentive mix. But again, the nutrients are lacking. So the pothos has been looking for the opportunity to expand. So don't be afraid to kind of just give the sides a little bit of a rub like this to just loosen some of the roots so that those roots can find that they can expand outwards again instead of being confined. Got this large bin here. It's got my coco-perlite mix, which is not what the plant had. I did say cocoa pumice bark, but because she's outdoor, I'm using perlite and cocoa. And it's on the denser side. It's got a lot more cocoa than perlite because I want to make sure that this mix stays really dense, but it's also packed with fertilizer. So about maybe 2 inches on the bottom. We're going to put the pothos in. Let's make sure they match. Just like that. The cocoa will settle when we water it, so this is going to be perfect. We're just going to fill her around the sides. And again, cocoa settles when you water it in. So it's going to probably need another layer after I add water, even though it looks like it's full at the top. Just shake your pot a bit. I personally have been using coco coir more now for my plants than outdoor potting mix because it's much better at retaining moisture. A lot of the outdoor potting mix tends to have added agents that tend to artificially retain moisture, but over time it can become, what do you call it, hydrophobic, which is not something you want to do long term. It'll create more issues down the line. Just get some of this extra stuff over here. I'm just going to put it on top and I'm going to shake it just like that. See? I'm gonna do a little at a top layer. We're gonna water it and I'm gonna show you guys. You're gonna see it settle, alright? Because they make your watering much easier. We're gonna do it slowly to allow the water to really run through and really flood the zone. You really want the cocoa and the soil to settle. So with any repot, anytime you put plants in the ground, really make sure that you douse your plant and let the soil go through, find any gaps, any air pockets to fill it in. And we can see how quickly the water drains through because this cocoa, although moisture retentive, mixed with the perlite, only holds what it needs and the rest it's released. So let's see how much of it settles. And if it doesn't, that means I've packed it enough, which is great. But really, really flood the zone. Do not be afraid. And this will help her recover. And it'll also make my life easier because I won't have to water the plant as frequently. Maybe every 2 weeks during warmer periods of the year. And during the fall and winter when it's cooler, obviously ease up on your watering so that you make sure your water doesn't cause root rot to your plants. You guys can see we're not really getting much settling, which is a great success with the amount of cocoa we put in here. The fun part is we're going to let this drain for about an hour and a half, and then I'm going to put her back into her home. And you want great drainage like this. You can hear it kind of fizzle through. You can hear it through my microphone. Little crinkles. That means the water's going through and it's also being absorbed by the cocoa. Let me lift up the pot so we can see how much drainage we're getting before I call this video a day. You can see the drainage going in, which is great. This pot is probably about 15-20 pounds. But now this plant will have a much better opportunity to survive because this mix is full of nutrients. It's going to be nice and moisture rich. It'll make it easier for me as well. Alright, that'll do it for this one. It's great to have another video with you guys. Have a great rest of your day.